What was supposed to be a night of pure celebration suddenly turned into one of the most heated debates the WNBA has seen all season. Candace Parker's jersey retirement, an emotional tribute to a legend, a trailblazer, and one of the greatest to ever step on the court. The stage was set, the atmosphere was electric, and fans were ready to honor her legacy forever. But instead of everyone leaving the arena inspired, all anyone could talk about was Angel Reese. Because in the middle of that tribute, Reese made a choice that instantly divided the internet. Some called it bold, others called it disrespectful. But either way, you couldn't ignore it. Here's what went down. Every single player, every coach, every staff member, they all wore the same shirt. Parker's number printed proudly across the chest. It wasn't just fabric, it was a powerful symbol of respect. The crowd cheered as Parker's jersey rose to the rafters, a moment meant to unite the basketball world in gratitude. But then, one person stood out, Angel Reese. While her teammates rocked the tribute shirt, Reese chose not to. She wore her own black warm-up top, the lone figure who broke away from the uniform of respect. And just like that, the mood shifted. A celebration of greatness turned into controversy. Fans started asking, was this a petty move or a power statement? One thing's for sure, Angel Reese had stolen the spotlight, and not everyone was clapping. Now here's where things get interesting. Because this wasn't just some random act of defiance. Angel Reese and Candace Parker already had history, and it had been simmering quietly in the background for months. You see, Candace Parker isn't just any retired player. She's a two-time WNBA champion, a finals MVP, and the face who delivered Chicago its very first championship. When Parker speaks, people listen. Her words carry weight, so when she dropped her player rankings, the basketball world tuned in, and yes, Reese's name was on that list. Parker praised her as a strong prospect, compared her to solid rising stars like Cameron Brink, and even said Reese had MVP potential. But there was a catch. Parker didn't put Reese in the same category as Paige Bueckers or A'ja Wilson. And while it wasn't meant as an insult, for a competitor as fiery as Reese, those words probably cut deep. And once the internet got a hold of it, oh boy, clips got chopped up, quotes got twisted, and suddenly the narrative wasn't Parker respects Reese's potential. It turned into Candace Parker doesn't believe in Angel Reese. In other words, Reese got rage-baited, and she didn't stay quiet. Instead of brushing it off, she started liking and retweeting posts that went after Parker. Some throwing shade, some claiming jealousy, and others even mocking Parker's career. What began as simple basketball analysis was now personal. Fans were eating it up like popcorn, and by the time jersey retirement night rolled around, the tension was impossible to ignore. The stage was set, tribute shirts, emotional speeches, the spotlight on Parker's legacy. Everyone fell in line. Everyone, except Reese. Standing in her own gear, in her own lane, she made sure the entire world knew exactly where she stood. It wasn't subtle, it wasn't quiet, it was loud, bold, and impossible to miss. That single decision spoke louder than any tweet ever could. The message was clear. I'm not rocking with you and I don't care who sees it. For fans it was shocking. For critics it was flat out disrespectful. And for the league, it was a perfect storm, drama, pride, and chaos on a night that was supposed to be all about love. And here's the kicker. Candace Parker's comments weren't even brutal to begin with. In fact, during the very same broadcast, Parker was still praising Reese, her size, her athleticism, her endless potential. She wasn't tearing her down, but by then the damage had already been done. Candace Parker was actually giving credit. She wasn't tearing Angel Reese down, she was lifting her up. But here's the thing, in sports, it's not always about what's said, it's about how it's heard. And Reese, she clearly heard doubt, mixed pride, competitiveness, and a storm of social media hype. And suddenly a night of celebration turns into a statement game. Angel Reese basically said, nope, I'm not playing along. And that's why this moment hit so hard. Because it wasn't just some rookie being petty. It was a competitor showing her edge, staking her claim, and refusing to back down. Whether you think that's strength or immaturity, depends on how you see it. And of course the internet poured gasoline on the fire. What might have been quiet tension suddenly exploded into a full-blown feud. Proof once again that in today's WNBA, Personalities can matter just as much as points. Now here's the crazy part. On the very same night Reese was making her silent protest, she also balled out, grabbing 17 rebounds and breaking Tina Charles' record for most double-doubles in a player's first 2 seasons. That's history. But ask anyone what they remember most and it won't be the rebounds. It'll be the shirt she didn't wear. And think about it, these kinds of moments almost never happen. Jersey retirements are sacred. They're supposed to rise above all the drama. Even Caitlin Clark, who's had legends publicly doubt her, still shows respect. Remember when Cheryl Swoops flat-out questioned Clark's career and even spread false claims? Clark still praised her. Because that's the standard. You honor the players who came before you, even if they weren't always kind. That's exactly why Reese's choice felt so shocking. It flipped the script. And while the media had an absolute field day, fans couldn't agree. Some blasted Reese, calling it the pettiest move in WNBA history. Others defended her, saying it was confidence, choosing authenticity over fake support. But either way, it stopped being about a shirt. It became about attitude, pride, and maybe even a little ego. And here's the twist. Through all the chaos, Candace Parker didn't clap back. Not once. On the broadcast she kept it classy, still praising Reese's athleticism, her motor, and her endless potential. Almost like she was saying, this isn't my fight. And here's the thing. Candace Parker wasn't throwing shade at all. She was doing what seasoned veterans do, keeping it real. She praised Reese's talent, her potential, her fire, but she also made it crystal clear that being the first option is a completely different ballgame. Because let's be honest, carrying a team night after night, that's pressure only the greats can handle. And the truth is, the Chicago Sky have been struggling, even with Reese putting up monster numbers. Yes, she grabbed 17 rebounds that night. Yes, she broke Tina Charles' record for the most double-doubles in a player's first 2 seasons. That's incredible. But the Sky? Still losing games. And Parker's point wasn't cruel, it was accurate. If Reese is your third best player, your team's probably strong. But if she's the number 1 option, you might be in trouble. So did Reese overreact? Maybe. Or maybe she's just wired differently. Some players take criticism and quietly use it as fuel. Others hear the same words and take them as disrespect, fighting back even harder. And what we saw that night, Angel Reese made it very clear she wasn't going to smile through a moment that didn't feel right to her. Petty? Powerful? That's up for debate. But one thing's for sure, it worked. The headlines exploded. The debate took over timelines. What should have been a routine celebration instantly became one of the most talked about WNBA moments of the year. And that's who Reese is, polarizing to her core. You either love her, or you can't stand her. But you cannot ignore her. That black warm-up top might have been silent, but it spoke volumes. It said, I hear you, I see you, and I don't agree. Call it pride, call it pettiness. Either way, it was unforgettable. And here's the kicker. Angel Reese didn't just make headlines with her shirt. She backed it up on the floor, dropping 10 points and pulling down 17 rebounds. That's not just a good rebounding night. That's straight-up dominance on the glass. But the real question is, did her performance match the statement she was trying to make? Or did the protest overshadow everything else? And to top it off, Angel Reese actually hit a massive milestone. She broke Tina Charles' record, logging her 20th double-double in just her first 2 seasons. That's the kind of history-making stat line that usually gets plastered all over the headlines. But not this time. Because while Reese was making history, the Chicago Sky were still losing, and her shaky shooting efficiency made people question if those rebounds really told the whole story. It was the ultimate mixed bag, a record-breaking performance completely drowned out by drama. And that's where the irony cuts deep. Here's a player proving she belongs, cementing her place in the record books. Yet all anyone wanted to talk about was a shirt. So was it petty? Was it a calculated PR move? Or was it simply a young star refusing to bend, no matter the spotlight? In today's game, being polarizing might actually sell more than being perfect. And Angel Reese knows that. She's building her brand as a true competitor, loud, unapologetic, and unafraid to stand her ground. Maybe one day she'll look back and regret this moment. Or maybe, just maybe, this was the first chapter of her villain era. Either way, it's unforgettable. Because at the end of the day, stats matter, records matter, But in sports, respect is the real currency everyone's watching. And on a night meant to honor Candace Parker's greatness, Angel Reese made sure the world couldn't look away from her.